This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island, and I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey, all right. Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us here at Free 906 and The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Live and the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And thanks for joining me as my co-host tonight, John Edwards. How you doing?
Great. As usual, Jeff. Always good.
That's awesome, man. I tell you what, thanks again for filling in tonight. I know that you've got other things happening, but I appreciate you coming on tonight. I mean, it's you and I doing Skinwalker Ranch, so it's almost like you have to be here, right?
Yeah, well, that's the last one, so I have to be here.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Go ahead.
I said it went by quick this year. It's just boom, 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 and we're done with the series.
10 episodes. That's all we got. It was 10. I think the popularity of the show is going to lend to more episodes coming in the future. I mean, we saw what happened with Curse of Oak Island. There's just a few at the beginning, but more and more and more. I think now with the popularity and with things that are going on at Skinwalker Ranch, they got to expand it. They have to, in my opinion.
Absolutely. They're going to have to expand. Probably go to 15 or 20.
Right.
They have so much to investigate there. How do you get away from that?
I feel like we're being cheated almost, because I know there has to be, I don't know. I think they're actually filming now for season 4, but I think anyway, it seemed like it. But anyway, so if that's happening now, and they got until winter, that's not a very big window of time to really do, a lot of investigating, I would think. But it's a couple months anyway, a few months, but and they got so much to get done. Wanted to just give a few shout outs to some of the folks showing up here tonight. Again, Sand Dollar Ray was the first one to come. He's for one here. And then followed quickly by Paula. Hi, you guys. Thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it very much. Let's see who else we got. That was even before we got started. They were here. Amy's here. Tom Burns is here. Hey, Tom. Jeff's in the house. Jan, Kat Fulton. Oh my goodness. Who else we got? I think I saw a name from somebody from over at the Insiders at skinwalker-ranch.com, and I'll be talking about that a little bit tonight as well. If you guys haven't heard of that, skinwalker-ranch.com is a members site where you can sign up to be a member. It does have a cost to it, but you can sign up to be a member, and you get a t-shirt like this one I'm wearing here tonight. But there are a lot of benefits. We're going to be talking about that a lot tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to tonight's show to wrap up the season of Skinwalker Ranch, but also tomorrow night, I'm looking forward to the show because I have the insider herself. I know there's quite a few of us now, but Shannon DeSalvo is coming on with me. She's one of the admins over there. I think it was the right terminology. She'll correct me tomorrow night if I got that wrong. Sorry. Shannon. But anyway, she's going to be on with me tomorrow night. We're going to go about an hour or so. We're really hoping you guys will come by. We're going to be talking about being an insider and about her involvement with it and how that has been going. And we're just going to have a fun time talking about all that and the stuff we get to do. It's really cool. But be here tomorrow night, 7:30, same channel. We're going to be having some great discussion with you all and Shannon DeSalvo. So I'm really looking forward to that. So be here tomorrow for that one. And don't forget to click that subscribe button for us. It really helps out a lot. And if you want to know when we have content coming out right away, click that notification bell. So it tells you you get an email or a notification right away saying that guess what? Jay Free's gone live. I know you've got yours clicked, right, John? Oh, you're here most of the time anyway. Curtis Bennett is with us tonight. Karen's here. Let's see. Bass Anderson. Michael O'Brien. All right. Hey, how you doing? So let's see. Dale Kearney over on the Court Lindahl's here.
Hey,
Noel's here. And Wally's here. Oh my goodness. Deborah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, thanks you guys for coming by tonight. Man, I this is one of those Navy dogs. Hey, Navy dogs, how you doing? Anthony. Oh my goodness. A lot of new I hadn't scrolled all the way down here. Skinwalker Ranch filming a season shorter than Oak Island? filming. Yes, it is. I believe it is because they don't get started until like now or August, and then they film until it gets cold there in Utah, and then they stop. So yeah, it's definitely a shorter season, I would say. Um, and they got a lot of experiments, like some of them that we're going to be talking about tonight. Um, this season was, I think they got more answers this season than they normally have, don't you think?
But it also produced questions, more questions.
I know, I know, and that's the thing about it. But I think they got farther this year than in previous years. I really do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There were more observations, more things that they were investigating. It was a good season.
That was Dale Carney, roughing the other guy.
Thanks, Dale. What a clown.
I started. That's funny.
Or Jeff.
Dale. Yeah, we love him, don't we? Dale,
Oh,
in case you guys are wondering, Dale is one of the he fills in quite a bit for us as a co-host over on the Curse of Oak Island side. Tonight we're on the Beyond side, which is a part of our name, the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond. Tonight we're on the Beyond side because we're heading down Skinwalker Ranch and all that kind of stuff. So, for those of you who might be new to the channel, I show a lot of pictures, and it kind of helps. So what we do is we kind of recap. I run through the show that took place, and this in this case it's going to be two. It's going to be episodes 9 and episode 10. We're going to kind of run through them, talk about it a little bit, maybe go down a rabbit hole. We always ask that if you have something you want to say, please jump into the chat and say so. I do my best to see it and bring it up. I miss a lot, and I'm sorry. John is kind of limited in what he has to work with tonight because he is on location. So he has a little trouble. I don't know. Can you see the chat, John? Are you able to?
yeah. Someone just said Jeff is like the old guy telling stories. Again.
That's Dale again. Yeah, I am. I'm like that old guy. Yeah, and I'll be doing it until I'm 90. 90. I remember one time when we was yeah. We have fun here too. But anyway, all right. Getting on with the story. And I like to show my pictures. I do. I have fun with it. And speaking of pictures, boom, let's get started.
All
The
right.
Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, episode number 9, Closer Encounters. Closer Encounters. As the show rolled off right off the bat, they had Pete Kelsey came out. He's the expert drone guy. He comes out with his equipment and his drones. And I remember don't start with any dad jokes. No, well, I'll try. Well, my boys get it all the time, but you guys, hopefully, I don't, maybe. Anyway, Pete Kelsey comes out. He's the guy that has the drones, and he has these really sophisticated drones. Remember in the first part of was it season 1 or season 2 when he came out? He couldn't even get one up in the air. I remember you brought that up before.
Yeah. So the batteries kept dying, and
Yep.
all
Yep.
things.
Yep.
Couldn't even get one to lift off.
No. Yeah, he had all kinds of trouble. So, and people ask that question. They say, how often, does that happen with other equipment? Yeah, it does. Even the production company, they don't talk about that. Thomas has mentioned that, that even the production company, sometimes their equipment fails and they've had drones crash on site and stuff. So yeah, it happens for sure. But Pete comes out and he brings out his drone here. Now this one, do I got these lined up right? Oh, I don't. You know what? I got them mixed up, folks. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. I had the wrong one pulled up. That's not episode number 9. That was episode 10.
Looked like episode 10, Jeff.
Yeah, it was episode 10.
Hmm.
What is going on here? Once I get my stuff together. There we go. No, I got some.
Jan. She's saying such funny things tonight.
Oh no! Oh no! We're definitely going down the wrong path now. I see it coming. Okay, here we go. Episode number 9. Sorry about that, folks. Episode number 9, Close Encounters. We started off with the show with Travis going in. This was right after, if you remember, this is when they were drilling underneath the mesa, going underneath the road and underneath the mesa. they were drilling and they were hitting something under there. We'll talk about that a little more as we go along here. But at that moment when they were wrapping that up, you had Thomas and Bryant were up on the mesa in that area, that rock area that
Hmm.
looked like a collapse. They were up there doing they were running a camera down, trying to get a look at things. And Travis they felt like a little earthquake or a little tremor. And Travis saw something out the corner of his eye, like a flash of something that flashed by. So he ran in to talk to Eric about it and see if Eric happened to catch anything on camera, which in fact he did. It's just right here. Sorry about the photo quality, folks. I'll get that going better as we go along here. But you see this little object right off the tip of his finger right there. It's hard to see, I know. Right there. And that's what he said he saw. He saw something flash by real quick, and he wasn't quite sure what in the world it was. So he wondered if Eric got a shot of it, and he did, which was pretty interesting. So after that, and again, they weren't too sure about what it was, but Eric was saying that if he hadn't seen it and come in and brought their attention to looking for it on camera, that Eric said he would have never seen that reviewing the film or reviewing the stuff. He would have never noticed it. So, um, so anyway, so he wonders if it's some kind of UAP, and then of course they get into the discussion of whether or not, the whole mesa, the things going in and out of the mesa.
Hmm.
They talked about that there's some sort of he's speculating about that, but are there some kind of craft or some sort of thing coming out of the mesa and being able to enter back into it. And this kind of brings that all up because all of a sudden it was there, but it was kind of
It's
cloaked.
not the first time you've seen anomalies like that, Jeff.
Mm.
It's like UAPs come and go in that area all the time. I mean, it's observable, it's repeatable. It's been done before. They've captured things before. I mean,
Mhm.
how do you explain it?
Well, and something you've said before, you and I were talking about it earlier, and I'm going to show this picture again because you had mentioned it, talking about how we do have some sort of cloaking technology, right? The military, or it's
No,
available.
what it does is diffuses light around an object, so the object appears not to be there. And when you look on the other side of the object, it's actually there. So we
Right.
have does light refracting, but it is also they can use LED technology. So if it was like a ship or whatever it was, even airplane stuff, you can reflect what's above, below, and the base of your craft with the LED looks exactly like what's above. I
Right.
mean, it's black ops stuff, but that stuff is in existence.
I mean, doesn't that kind of look with that little dot kind of reminds you of that bending of light?
And then
It's almost not visible, but sort of, I mean, just a faint
it,
outline of
it,
something.
yes, it's a bending of light, and the light will bend, but it will also reflect everything around it, but what's behind it.
Right. I don't
You
know.
know,
Just weird. Yeah.
bending, which would be consistent with our own military.
Yes.
And if
Exactly.
if you go to YouTube, you can pull up, cloak technology or
I've
cloaking.
seen the video of a guy standing behind that panel, and he basically disappears.
He disappears, and then when he walks out, there he is. And
Yeah.
so if it's on YouTube and it's not been manipulated, they have the technology. I
Mhm.
can only imagine what the military has.
I
If
know,
it's
right?
military, if
Yeah.
if it's military, that's the question. Is it
Right.
military?
Yep. So, they're gonna check into that a little bit further, but we didn't see anything more about that particular thing
Yeah.
during that episode. Anyway, they jump over here and they invite Brandon to come out because they want to talk to Brandon about a new round of experiments before the season is over. And so they get talking to him about Travis mentions having the biggest rocket that they've launched yet, packed with a payload of electronic equipment, basically saying that it's an all-out experiment that is going to include much of the past experiments and technology all into one thing. So they're gonna try all kinds of stuff in one grand finale, I guess, of an experiment to try to see what they can get, what they can record, and either digitally or data wise or visually, and then see if they kick up anything and stir up anything. Um, they hope to stimulate a response, obviously. So they're looking at that 1 mile high above the triangle area, of course, that area. They talk about this rocket being able to go up, the biggest one they've had yet, fire up there and have chalk fall out of the this was them having the meeting, there's Brandon, and have chalk come out of it, chalk dust at different levels. So they bring out these two teams, um, and they got Lock Precision, LOC Precision, and New Salt Laser. And they bring these guys have been around. Both teams have been there before, so they bring these guys out, and I thought it was kind of funny that right off the bat they got to show their toys. They're boys with their toys, and they, oh, look what we brought. We got these laser cannons and so all this kind of stuff, and they're showing I got to tell you, I like the fact that the show can add some humor. I really do, and you can't be all serious all the time, right? So anyway, they got their showing their round of stuff that they've got, and they can't be outdone by the Rocket Boys. They're bringing stuff out. Giant rocket. I mean, this thing 15 feet tall.
What's that, SWR? Is that the Skinwalker?
Skinwalker Ranch 300.
Is
And the one behind it is the Skinwalker Ranch 001. That's this one back here.
that like a backup rocket?
Yeah, they brought a couple just in case, and thankfully they did. I liked one thing that Thomas had said when they were talking about the end of that meeting, and they were talking about if nothing, even if something unusual happened, it would be kind of neat or something. That might be some data, of course. And Thomas had said a quote, and I thought this was perfect, spot on. I wrote it down. He
Mhm.
said, "If nothing unusual happens, that would be unusual." And I thought that's perfect. That's exactly, if nothing unusual happens, that's going to be pretty unusual. So I really like that. I wrote that down because I thought that was great. When he brought that up. And so the guys bring out their stuff. The New Salt guys bring out three 200-watt laser space cannons. Now imagine that name, laser space cannon. It just sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Kind of intimidating. What the heck is
Yeah, it truly is. It is kind of intimidating, but a laser space cannon, and also one of what they call a NSL 2000 model Z30 laser light show projector. Laser light show projector. We'll kind of show you in a minute here what those things would do, and you saw it on the show anyway, what they were getting ready for. But
Mhm.
anyway, so they the lasers, and this was the artist rendition. This wasn't one of the pictures of the actual laser, but this is one of the artist rendition digitally put together of the laser shooting up to a point a mile high.
Wow.
And you've got this one here. Now, this is what the laser light show projector. That's this unit sitting right here on in the forefront of the picture, and it's going to be doing an up and down sweep in here while the three lasers are up. And when they drop the dust, they wanted to be able to capture that dust with the sweep and see if there's any sort of anomaly in that area. Right?
Right. Yeah.
That's what this was doing. I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
I said that makes perfect sense. Try to
Mhm.
see if they flush something out.
Yeah. Kind of like when they were looking at it with the laser, with the telescopes. Remember, they had the
Yeah.
telescope. They were going to shoot a rocket up through the same area, look at it through the telescopes, and see
Yeah.
if anything changes. They see wavy light or anything, a distortion of any kind like that. So they have this the laser show projector, and then here is where they were showing the at 5,000 feet, 4,000 feet, and 2,000 feet. I think it was. It would release the dust, the chalk dust in the air,
Mhm.
and hopefully it would coat something or show something as it was coming down. Um, and because of the size of this 15-foot rocket, they had to be at least 1,000 feet away. Remember that?
Yeah.
And a good thing they were, right?
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. While they were using the three giant multi-watt laser cannons and the laser scanner, they will be monitoring the 1.6 gigahertz spectrum
Hmm.
to see if anything pops up there as well when they're doing these experiments, because that often happens, right? They get that something starts transmitting at 1.6 gigahertz. So I don't know. Is Jeff taking a bet at how long it would take me to say 1.6 gigahertz? Now,
Someone.
and we should have a drinking game. Every time Jeff says 1.6 gigahertz, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're gonna see the chat
I
light
don't
up.
drink. I'm not a drinker anyway. So what's that?
You're gonna see the chat light up in a minute with cheers to you. Every
So I'm sorry. Go
1.6.
ahead.
Every time you say 1.6, I guess everyone takes a drink, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. I had to grab a picture of this too. This was this is actually the rocket motor. Look at Travis's face right here. Look how excited he is. I mean, I am too. I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, look at the size of that rocket motor that they're getting ready to put. That's for the big 15 footer SWR 3000 or 300 that they're going to put that in. But yeah, so they're going to release the chalk. The lasers are going to make a pyramid, and they're going to shoot the rocket up there. The rocket's going to release the chalk as it comes back down. So everybody gets ready. They got the whole team out there. Jim Moore's out there. Everybody. They got a doctor out there just in case Brandon brings him out.
Yep.
They get everybody ready for this. So they want to get all eyes on deck on this experiment here. Let's see. The 15-foot rocket will contain every detection meter the team has used and will also contain 3 payloads of the chalk dust at 3,000, 5,000, and 4,000 feet. Level 3 rockets can travel 400 to 500 miles an hour.
Wow.
They use oh boy, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. These names, they come up with this stuff.
Hey Jeff, what bandwidth was that? What were they broadcasting at again?
Oh, you mean 1.6 gigahertz.
1.6 gigahertz. Everyone knows what that means now.
Yep. So they got so many eyes out here, and these guys are not only to watch what's happening, watch for any anomalies, but also be watching the sky, see if anything pops up, they get any activity showing up in the form of a UAP or UFO over the site. So they get everybody out, everybody's getting ready, and they send off a couple people. They got Tom and Candace up here on the mesa. They got a great viewpoint from right up here, looking at everything.
Yep.
And now they got the lasers going. There's Thomas checking out, and he's looking up there at that point. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think that'd be awesome just to be there to see that.
Pretty amazing.
And it's pointing about a mile high, about 3,000 feet or so. And so they were saying you could see it from everywhere. I mean, everybody, all the neighbors and everybody.
Yeah.
Thomas said, they're probably all wondering what in the world are they doing over there? So they also did something that wasn't expecting, but I thought this was really cool. When they said that they were going to take the signal that they had picked up, the recorded sound that they had picked up from what was it again? What was that frequency?
Would that be 1.6 gigahertz, Jeff?
Yes, that one. That they were going to take the sound that they had recorded and they were going to play it through one of the laser lights. I'm not even sure how they do that, but they were going to broadcast it through the laser, one of the cannons, one of the space cannons, laser space cannon. I thought that was really cool to see what that might stir up, and I think it did. We're going to show that as we go along too. So they get everything, and there's a couple more pictures. This right here, that's an actual picture of the lasers. I know it's not a very good one, folks. I apologize for that. But that's actually one of the lasers right there. And you see this one over here. This one over here in the far right over here. That's the laser projector. That's, kind of working its way up and down and waiting for the dust. And, so there's a close up of it. And there's the point where they're reaching up in the sky. And they had all clear, that they had no air traffic in that area. They had the area closed off for air traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And they get ready to fire the cannon. I did grab a little bit of video here, so we'll watch it. And look at the size. That's that 15-footer getting ready to launch.
That's awesome.
Yep. Here's a little bit of the footage. And they're counting down 5, 4, 3, and fire. And kablam. Man. I mean,
oh wow.
The first one just exploded right on the launch pad. He talked about a seal or something that went bad, or I forget exactly was the explanation, but thankfully they had another rocket or a couple more rockets as a backup that they could do something with. But I mean, it really damaged a lot of their equipment, a lot of their electronics. I mean, the damage alone to all the instrumentation they had on this thing had to be so expensive. Not only for the rocket guys and the rocket itself, but also for this right here. I mean, they lost a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then they were worried about the canisters that would actually explode, the canisters that had the chalk dust in them. When those things went off, I mean, when they were over there looking for what to see what happened, those things could still explode. So they had to be very careful when they went over to the site to make sure that they were, checking for those things first. They did find them, and all three of them were good for not exploding. But man,
Jeff, one of our viewers suggested it was 1.6 gigahertz hit it.
maybe. uh,
Could have been. Could have been.
yep.
Yeah.
I was just reading some of the chat that's come by here. A robot was talking about they what previously presented finding a football field of europium, maybe to build a second battery underneath, changing the
Hmm.
nanoparticles to a solar cells. That's getting a little above my pay grade there. So anyway, they went around and gathered up all their equipment that they could find, and then they got ready to launch the second rocket, in which they did. And here it is taking off. It did actually launch, but it veered off. It didn't get but maybe a few hundred feet in the air, and it veered off toward the north. Now, keep that in mind toward the north. And something else that I wanted to point out too, and we'll get to. Remember the shape right here. This whole curving shape right here. Just remember that for later on. I'm going to bring it up again later in the show when we get to another part. But
Jeff, was there any wind or anything at this present time when this thing
no,
took off? There
no,
was. And that shouldn't have happened.
no. And the fact that the smoke trail that was left by the rocket, this right here, actually lingered. They didn't really show us, but the guys had
Yeah.
made a comment about it, that it lingered. If it was a wind right here, it would have
Sure.
been blowing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Now, Travis said when the wind blows, it's going to turn into the wind. So if the wind was coming out of the north, it would turn to the north. That would make it, he said, that's physics. Now that goes, he knows that kind of stuff because that's what he does, but I wouldn't know that. But he said a rocket is naturally going to turn into the wind. So if the wind's blowing this way, it's going to turn and go that way.
Yep.
So, but you
Yeah.
see this, and they said the smoke trail from it lasted for a long time before it dissipated, which tells you there was no wind, at least not enough to blow that smoke trail away very quickly.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, Pink Floyd 1.6 gigahertz. So it went off to the north, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is what they discovered as they got done with that shooting that off. This is when Eric called out to the. He was in the command center on the cameras, and he called out there to get Travis and grab Brandon
Yep.
Fugel and come in to the command center to check this out. And they showed this video, and I'm going to show. I got a couple of different clips of it. You see that little anomaly moving along, and it's heading from our perception. They mentioned it on the show, but from our perception, it looks like it's heading towards the point, the pyramid that they're making with the lasers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also broadcasting that recording on 1.6 gigahertz. They're broadcasting that through the laser.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, here comes a UAP. Now, it would just be classified as UAP or UFO. The UAP is a phenomenon. A UFO is an actual flying object, a thing that is under, I don't know.
But a UFO can be a UAP, a
Yes,
UAP can be a UFO.
I guess. But the definition of the two is it's a phenomenon. You don't know that it's actually an object. It could be a phenomenon of some
So,
sort, not
so
an object, whereas a UFO is an actual object.
was that an object or phenomenon?
At this point, I would say it's an object. So I would say it's a
Well, can we
UFO.
run the video again?
Yeah.
It looks like it changes shape. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. And I got another one right here.
Changes shape. It wouldn't be an object,
Now, my
would it?
thinking was, can the distortion cause that? The distortion of the heat, distortion in the air? While you're looking up from a warm, well, I don't know how warm, but let's say a relatively warm mesa or ground level,
Hmm.
and you're looking up towards the sky, which is gets colder, but you're looking through different layers of temperature change. Is that going to cause this distortion right here?
But that's moving.
I know, I know.
So it's not
I
like ball of lightning is much closer to the surface. I mean, I've never seen a ball of lightning.
Yeah, no, that's not ball lightning. I don't.
That's
I wouldn't.
ball of
Yeah.
lightning is a phenomenon. I've seen it before, but that's not a ball of lightning.
Mhm.
So it's changing shape, it's moving. It's not like the tic tac, because when
No.
you see a tic tac, you almost see two discs kind of revolving around each other for anti-gravity in that scenario, if that's what's going on with a tic tac.
Mhm.
But that I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't either. And it's hard to determine exactly what altitude this is also, because you're looking at it and you can't tell because you have no reference of you have the top of that pyramid, is about 3,000 feet, but
So,
that's your only reference to tell you how high is this thing. So how big is it in relation to its height? You just
okay,
don't know. I don't think
this is that natural?
this thing. No
Yeah.
way. No way. And they also track that there's no air traffic going on right now. Is there's
Okay.
no blinking lights on this thing, and it's not a satellite. They did mention that on the show that they knew this was not a satellite because it was
It's
going in the opposite direction of satellite travel over the
too,
Earth
too big to
in
be a
Earth.
satellite. That was a satellite. That would be huge. It's just too big to be a satellite.
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen the International Space Station, with my eye, going. I mean, it's tiny,
Yep.
tiny. So there's no way that's a satellite. It's too big.
Yep. I agree.
So
Now,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no,
No,
go ahead.
is it intelligible? Is it by design, or is it? What do you think it is, Jeff?
I don't know, but let's look at this one. Now, this was the same one. Now
Okay.
they let it as it was. They kind of flipped the camera around, and it made it weird there for a little bit, trying to keep track of. But they kind of flipped the camera around. It's the same thing going in the same direction, but they flipped the camera around, or the perception of the view around, and now it seems like it's going the other way when it isn't. But it was this one here, and you guys remember this very well. And I think this is one of the top things that they've captured. Was this right here? It was that same anomaly, and there it goes. It didn't go into a cloud. There was no cloud blocking it. It was a clear night. So it didn't go behind a cloud. I don't know what to make of that. I just don't. What do you think?
I, Jeff, I don't have an explanation for that. I'm not even going to speculate. You know,
I just don't. I
I mean, come on. How do you explain that? If it's cloudless,
Mhm.
which is the supposition.
Yep.
How do you explain that away?
I don't know. I don't
I,
know.
I never
What do you
reap.
guys think? What do you folks think in the chat tonight? We got 80 people watching right now. So what do you guys think? Is there what do you think this was? And where did it go? And as you said, as they said, there was no clouds out there at this particular time, and this thing just faded away.
Now,
I,
is there any broadcast going on during this anomaly?
yeah, because the yes, there was.
What gigahertz?
Well,
You know.
let me say, I assume that there was because the laser pyramid is still up,
Okay,
right
so
there.
1.6 still, right?
Assuming that it's still they're still broadcasting in that up, the pyramid that's up, then yes, I would say that they are taking the recording from 1.6 gigahertz and they're playing it
Okay.
still through that. Um,
Wow.
And then there's that close up. And then as they flip it around, there it disappears. Like a shuttlecraft. Yeah, going inside the cloaked. That's I'm glad you brought that up, Amy, because that's kind of what I was thinking. They say one of the thoughts was line of thought was it disappears into a portal, and therefore is now in a different space time or traveling through a different space time. But I thought a shuttle or something going into the mothership that is cloaked. This one wasn't, but it's going into the cloaked mothership, and therefore now it disappears when it goes inside.
We're
I
saying
thought
like a docking bay, like an
like
invisible
a
dock.
docking bay, yeah, like the shuttlecraft Galileo going inside the shuttlecraft going inside the Enterprise. I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
what. Yeah, I mean, same.
All lightning type objects discharge and disperse. Yes, the Wizard of Techno, that is correct. They do. At some point, the ball lightning does dissipate.
Well, maybe someone out there can answer this question because I don't know off the top of my head. Can a ball of not lightning occur at that altitude? I know I've seen them near the surface of the Earth, surface of the ground, but can a ball of lightning be at that altitude? I'm just wondering.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, that was Cat. Cat said that. I said, open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. I cannot do that. Anyway, sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
so just
run, see the obelisk outside of your door.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go outside. There it is. Oh no. Oh no. So many possibilities, Anthony. You're absolutely right.
Funny.
What in the world was this thing and where did it go? I mean, come on, that right there, folks, that's the capture. We have seen how, if you're into UFOs and UAPs, how many times have you seen video on YouTube or anywhere else of people capturing some sort of anomaly?
Jeff, roll that video again one more time. Could you
And
roll
usually the footage is not very good. It's blurry, it's this, it's that,
it?
but we
Yeah.
never see anything like this.
Does it? I'm trying to just kind of visualize. Does it dissipate like a ball of lightning would dissipate?
No, I think it disappears. If you watch, and here's the reason why I say that. And I can't zoom in on this because it's a video, but
Yeah.
watch as it disappears and you'll see almost like its vapor trail still lingering. Watch. And
Okay.
maybe that's that light working with the camera. I don't know, but watch. Right as it dissipates, watch how the like like its stream is continues. Hold, well, here we go. Right when it dissipates, watch. Right there. You see how it looked like it lingered for a second?
Yep.
It just
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
faded away? Watch again. You see
How,
that?
how do you explain that?
It almost looks like the light is still shining out of the door of the pod bay. It's like the light is still shining out of the door as it enters. Watch, right when it disappears, right? So you see the light shining out of the back there. Isn't that cool? I don't know.
Wow.
I'm amazed by that thing. I really am. This was a great capture. Anyway. I don't know that I can with this. I don't have it set up right now. I'll try to
It,
see what I can do with that and put it up on the page. What's
it
that?
is the edge. Someone, the Facebook user said it's showing an edge, and I do. It looks like it's showing an edge. If you were to play that, like it's right there,
Yeah,
and
like
it's
edge of something.
an edge of something, or it appears. Let's say it appears to be an edge of something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's what it is or not, but it appears that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's just awesome, isn't it? I mean, to me, that's one of their best catches they had all season.
Is
Right.
that a flying object or is that an unidentified aerial
I
phenomenon?
think that's a UFO. In my opinion, that's a UFO. That's not a phenomenon. That's an object that's dissipating or going into something or
Well, all
or
different.
is it going up and it's leaving space and we are 62.5 miles above? I don't know.
Your opinion is an object or a craft?
If it's an object, to me, it's a craft.
That's what I'm driving at. If you're saying it's an object and a UFO, like a true UFO, it's got to be a craft.
Yep. Yep.
In your opinion.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay, so we got a lot of people weighing in here. I'm going to back up a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of activity going on.
Oh, let's see here. Looks like it's going into another space beyond. I don't know who that was. Let's see if I can find it. It's one of our Facebook viewers, and I don't have a name. Oh, that was Sharon. Sharon said that. Thank you, Sharon. What else we got in here? I swear it just vanishes. This was another Facebook user. Oh, this is Chris. Just as it vanishes, there is a slight straight edge. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I think so too. It disappeared like it's going behind a cloud. That does. You're right, but there is no clouds. They verified there's no clouds in the sky that night. I don't know. Would a pocket of gas burn out like that?
That was my question.
Yeah.
Is that the way a pocket of gas, ball of lightning would dissipate?
Right.
With an edge.
Right.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Techno says trail of ionized matter. Yep. That's it. You see that. There's like a little vapor trail there as it disappears. There's like it leaves behind something. I thought was really cool. Slower. I wish I could. Yeah. Missouri Dave says slower play speed. I can't. I with what I have here right now set up, I don't have that capability. But I'm gonna work with this a little bit. It is footage. It does belong to the History Channel and Prometheus. So I really I'm not allowed to mess with it like that. They do let me get away with showing bits and pieces if I don't only show a couple seconds. So I have to be very careful what I do with their footage. This does belong to the History Channel and Prometheus.
And Jeff, Anthony makes a point. Why can't it be both a UAP and a UFO? A UFO can be a UAP.
Yeah. Yes.
A UAP doesn't necessarily have to be a UFO.
Correct.
Because it's an aerial phenomenon doesn't mean it's a craft. And UFO usually means craft object, correct?
Right.
Okay. So it could be both. It could be that if it's a UFO is a UAP by definition.
I was just reading some of the chat here. Ball lightning usually closer to the ground. Yes, I agree. Game camera by aliens. Spaceball 1 going to ludicrous speed. We've gone plaid. You guys are hilarious. I love you guys. I really do. This is the fun part about you guys have heard me say it before, but the best part about doing the show for me and John and Tom and everybody is the interaction we have with all you guys. That's the best part of it. That's why I do this. It's just so much fun to interact with everybody. Okay, so that was episode, believe it or not, that was just episode 9. Even though I had them out of order there for a little bit. Go ahead.
No. I can't believe that's all packed into episode 9.
I know. That is crazy.
It was such a good episode, though. It was a great episode.
I thought the last one was too. So we got now, dun, 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 I can start and go back to where I was before with Pete Kelsey, who's the drone operator. Remember him? I was talking about him about a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. Pete Kelsey came out with his drones, or drone, the one that he had. This thing is awesome. I would just love to just fly this thing around and mess with it. I'd crash it and it'd tear it all up. And this thing has to be what? How much do you think this thing costs? A couple $100,000 or something? I don't know. I have no idea. But and he had all these extra battery packs. He snaps these big battery packs in there. And I heard him say something about matching packs. Now I remember matching batteries because they all have different numbers when you go to the charging and the storage capacity. They have different numbers of how much, and you try to match them up as best you can.
Wow. No, I was like, there's a lot of battery power sitting there.
Yeah. So he gets this thing ready on his little pad there, and he takes off, and it's up. And obviously, there's another one in the air, taking pictures of that one in the air. But basically, what this was, he had on board a 3D photogrammetry drone. scan, which he was doing a scan, and I hope I'm saying that word correctly. Photogrammetry.
Yep.
I hope I said that correctly. Drone scan of the entire ranch. Now, this thing is going to take a million pictures, little pictures of the entire ranch, and then be able to put it all back together so that it looks like a map. And it's going to give you a 3D rendition of the entire place and all that. So, produce a three-dimensional map and possibly reveal features that cannot be seen by the human eye. And as Pete goes ahead and he gets started with that scan. In the meanwhile, Travis heads over to his trailer and he has a meeting with senior astronomer Seth Shostak, and he is from the SETI Institute. Now, you guys know SETI. If you guys are into any of this kind of stuff, you know who SETI is, and all the different things that they've been working on, and they're still there. They're still the search for ET, basically, extraterrestrial intelligence. Travis wants to discuss with him the 1.6 gigahertz, gigahertz, the signal that has been detected on the ranch. Travis was telling him that he believes that this 1.6 gigahertz signal is a communication signal. And he wants to basically ask, Seth about the protocols when they find signals like this. Because there are certain things you do, and the guys from SETI would know, because when they discover a signal coming from space, they have to start doing immediate checks. One of those is to see, does anybody else record the same thing? Does anybody else get the same signal?
Is it repeatable?
Right, right. So does anybody other facility get it, and make sure that you're starting to verify that it's not coming from the microwave, or it's not coming from the some ground-based place nearby that's transmitting this signal. So you have to go through all that and make sure that is in fact a signal that you are not being produced by someone else on a ground base or satellites going overhead or anything like that. Communication satellite of some sort.
Jeff, I know someone had mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks back that 1.6 gigahertz was a frequency that one of the military affiliated groups used. I don't know the exact comment, but someone was very astute with putting that in the chat. If that's the case, you have to rule that out. You have to see if they're transmitting or in the area as well.
Yep.
You just have to take into account anyone that could be using the 1.6.
Right.
So once you rule that out, then you have to ask yourself, well, what is it? And where is it coming from?
And where's it coming from? So he wanted to do his due diligence. One of the other things that Seth Shostak had mentioned was that, is it directional? And we know that it is, because, let me jump to this real quick. I'll come back to that. And because Thomas, they did that experiment already.
Yep.
And they did determine that it was directional, and it was coming from the direction from where he was here of the triangle. So when he was pointing that right there, where he had the strongest signal of it coming in, it was pointing toward the triangle.
Wow.
And then you got Caleb over there. He's looking through the binoculars to see if he can see anything that would be over there causing some sort of a temporal shift, or some kind of a shift, or a shimmer or something. If anything that he could detect looking through the binoculars. But they basically got nothing. Now, the other thing about that radio signal at 1.6 gigahertz, when they recorded that sound, remember they took this over and they went to and this was over at Jack FM. Jen Rook had talked about the fact that she had some interference. She was getting some interference periodically at the radio station as well. So the guys went over and they took that recording over to her and they asked her to play it on the radio station. She's the DJ and the station manager over there at Jack FM. And again, this is Jen Rook. And she does. She tells everybody, all her listeners, that she's going to do that. And she does start to play it. Now, this here is when Travis and Eric were looking at the signal. Now, on the left is a signal of what the radio station would normally be broadcasting, not just a tone, but actually broadcasting a song or somebody speaking or whatever. That's what it's going to look like. And Travis had said, regardless of how it or what the sound is, it's going to be like that. But when they played the signal that they had recorded from the 1.6 gigahertz, it
Yep.
looked like the one on the right. This is what the waveform changed to. And that is just weird. Why did that signal just simply being broadcast on that radio station? Why did it change to look like this versus the one on the left? I mean, that's
You can't explain that.
yeah, I can't. And I was a radioman in the Navy.
Wow.
They don't do that. It just doesn't do that. So something in that transmission was laughing at it. I keep saying it, so everybody's they're turning it.
Oh,
Some people are turning it into a drinking game.
no.
1.6 gigahertz. So
No.
anyway, there it is. It's making this weird. That's a weird anomaly in itself, right there, is it not?
Unexplainable.
Why was it doing that? And I might have to dig into that a little bit further and see what I can find out. But yeah,
Well, it's Jeff. It's not only the 1.6 being used, but it's also in conjunction with phenomena.
mm-hmm.
So it's
Yes,
just not the 1.6 isolated. It's the
right.
1.6 in conjunction with something else.
Right. When they're doing an experiment, it's not there. Or when they're not doing an experiment, it's not there. Then they
That's right.
start doing an experiment, and there it comes.
And there it is.
And there it
Without
is. It shows up, and it's directional.
and it's
And
directional.
also later that night, if you remember, later that night, they also had recorded that there were some UFOs or UAPs showed up later that night. About 2 hours after they got done, reports were coming in. Jim Morris had brought this to them the next day, telling them that there were sightings all around the area of UAP lights in the sky, moving lights in the sky, and in patterns. So after they had done that, that was after they transmitted at the radio station that night. Two
Sure.
hours after they transmitted that signal at 1.6 gigahertz, that's when it all happened. So
Interesting.
just, I mean, again, just so many things that these guys have done to try to bring this all together, right? And get answers on this. It's just incredible. It truly is.
Wow.
Um, yeah. All right. Let's not turn this
I'm not saying a word, Jeff.
turn this into a drinking game. All right. So okay, now what the guys do is they get together, um, and in the meanwhile, they went and they took all this Pete Kelsey's data that he got from the photogrammetry, photogram. I knew I was going to mess up trying to say this. Uh, photogrammetry, drone scan. He took all that data and he gave it to Eric, and Eric was going to put it through its paces, and we'll show that here in just a moment. But they get together at toward the end of the show, and they get over in they go into Salt Lake City at the business of Brandon Fugel, and they go in and they have a meeting, kind of a wrap up meeting, and they got some really interesting people here. Of course, there's Brandon there, of course, and then they got former Governor Gary Herbert shows up, and then this guy right here, George Knapp. Now, everybody that's into UFOs and stuff like that, and weird anomalies and
Yep.
phenomena know who he is. Um, and he brings a lot of information to the table about stuff, portals and things like that. This man has done a lot of research over the years,
He's
investigative
one
journal. Yeah.
co-host of Coast to Coast AM. Worked with Art Bell, worked with George Norrie. I think he does the weekends every once in a while.
Yep.
He's a pretty regular contributor. I think he still contributes to Coast AM.
Mhm.
He's an expert in the field. I mean, he's made it
Expert in the field.
that's his area of expertise.
Yep. Absolutely right. Would love to have him on the show one day. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Beyond Our World, it would be amazing.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
another channel. John and I do. It's called Beyond Our World. Still showed on J Free 906 on YouTube, but we have a different. It's a Facebook group page called Beyond Our World, and in that we get into all kinds of stuff, all kinds of. And I was going to actually bring up one of our conversations here in just a little bit. Matter of fact, talking about this next few slides that I have here. Um, But George is neat to have him at the table. The whole team is there, everybody's there, and they're all looking. And I kind of shuffled this around a little bit the episode because I wanted to show what they were showing here at the table. Some of the things that happened last season. Now they didn't show this during their meeting, but I just kind of wanted to sum up and show some of the stuff that happened this season. And this was a season full of all kinds of interesting finds. This was at the beginning of the season when they were talking to Brandon's brother. I'm at a loss for his name. The one that the helicopter. He owns the aero company, flying planes and helicopters. I'm at a loss for his name. I'm sorry, folks. If anybody knows, what's that?
Someone will put it in chat for you.
Yeah, somebody put it up in chat. What's Brandon's brother's name? Cameron. Was that it? Cameron. Yes, thank you. Jan got it. Cameron. But he flies that helicopter, and when he was up with Travis. Remember when they were getting that it said when they were flying up here, and it said there was something 40 feet below, that they were 40 feet off the ground when in fact they were several thousand feet off the ground. And then they saw this. This was at the beginning of the season. They showed Cameron this and asked him, "Are you okay with flying around over here? This is the kind of thing that happens." And this was that anomaly that flew or was underneath the helicopter. And here it is flying by. So you see these two pictures as it moved by. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And they kept getting readings that something was 40 feet below or they were 40 feet off the ground. So that was one interesting thing. They also had the bottles that they had put the GPS tracking units in, and they threw them out of the helicopter. You remember that? And here it is right here. It was showing it. It was, some odd, I forget how many feet, but quite a few feet underneath the mesa.
Yeah, you can't explain that.
You can't explain that. What the heck was that all about? That it started off underneath the mesa, but by the time it got up to, their altitude when they threw it out, and this is when they threw it out right here.
Yep.
Okay. And then when they threw it out, this is looking down. It looked like it bounced off of something. They talked about that. And everything is happening in the same area, folks. This is what I'm getting at. All these things that they have found over the course of the last couple seasons have all led to something that mile high, some kind of anomaly, something is going on. Something is bouncing off of it. Something made the rocket turn. Something made the other rocket explode. Now that could have been an error in something that was done. I mean, now you can't say that the UAP or whatever, some anomaly caused that explosion of that rocket. But again, failures of equipment and machinery and everything else. So many times they go to do an experiment and something shows up to stop that experiment.
Or the splitting of the laser.
The splitting of the laser, the bending of the laser.
The bending of the laser. And that really impressed me because that can't happen.
Lasers don't bend unless they hit an object, a mirror or something.
Unless you're bending it through cloak technology that does bend light. That would be a possibility. But Jeff, are we inferring that there's something there? Is that the inference you're making?
Yeah, I guess I am. I guess I am saying that because
and
go ahead.
Well, go ahead, and then I have a follow-up question.
So many of the experiments that these guys have done have shown that there is something going on in that area. Signals, data from GPS data just going wonky when it gets in that area. Something looks like here it bounced off of something on its way down. Or wind, all of a sudden, a big gust of wind just blew it dramatically like that.
Is this a no-fly zone, Jeff?
No. I mean, over top. I mean, aircraft do go over top of Skinwalker.
Could you fly up to right into that anomaly?
What's that? Say that again.
Could you fly something directly into the anomaly?
I think they have.
Nothing.
Well, was it when they were flying over that area? Was that when it was said there was something? They were 40 feet off the ground.
True.
I don't know.
So you think that's bouncing off something?
It sure seems that way. All of a sudden, it got deflected several hundred feet.
Well,
off course
not only deflected, but deflected at a right angle.
at a right angle. Well, yeah. It
Or
was
what,
actually about a 45-degree angle, but yeah.
5 degree
So it
angle?
was
That was
going down and it went off to the I think so. I don't think it was a true well, I don't know.
well.
I
Look at
guess I don't know that for a
that looks
fact.
like a degree angle to me, or close to
Yeah,
it.
I know. But it's going down, so it's making it yeah.
True story. But how do you explain that away?
I don't know. And then they had Kendra. They went and got in a pair. She has a plane. She has the Pilot Makers Advanced Flight Academy, and they went up into her plane. Eric did, I should say, loaded up with all kinds of technology, and he took off with her. They flew over, and they could not get her tracker. They couldn't pick it up.
Wow.
They looked at the two different tracks. The one that was recorded by her plane when she got back showed they went over to Skinwalker Ranch and they went and they did like the lawnmower pattern,
Mm-hmm.
back and forth across, widening each time or in a pattern at different altitudes, going
Yep.
back and forth, doing the lawnmower effect. The data that was recorded, there's Eric up in the plane, and he was talking about getting all sorts of weird noises and everything going on, and it was just a mess. I mean, trying to do the experiment. And then the data that was recorded by her tracker showed fine. On his equipment, it was showing like this.
Hmm.
And it was showing them at 62, I think it was 62.5 feet under the mesa, underground. I think that's when Travis said something about what's 62.5 feet above ground or miles. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
62.5 miles.
That's
That's
when
where
we
you enter space.
That's our atmosphere, isn't it? 62.5 miles. Is that
Yeah.
what we take away from Earth?
62.5 miles is when you leave any atmosphere at all and go into
Yep.
space.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah,
Coincidence?
the rocket. Yes, that's right. Sethbound said, or no, wait. Oh, missed it. Oh, Wizard of Techno said the rocket veering off. I mean, so many things, folks. Over the course of the last couple seasons, they have had so many things that have led them to say that there's something going on in that area. GPS getting all screwed up, all kinds of electronics. The telescopes. Remember what happened with the telescopes?
Yep. But Jeff, this has been seen before. When Bigelow owned the ranch, did they not find the same type of phenomena?
You would think so.
We're
They
just
didn't share it though.
They didn't share it. Now it's being shared with. You know what? That's interesting. Bigelow didn't share it, and I know the military were involved. Now it's being shared on a TV show, on the History Channel, right? It's almost as if the public is being primed for. I mean, maybe this is just a conspiracy, but my conspiracist mind every once in a while kicks in. But Bigelow didn't share any of it, and now they're sharing what's going on.
Right.
Why? Because it's very consistent. I mean, we've seen people come back to the ranch and say, "Hey, this is very consistent with the one I've seen when I used to work for the ranch." You know, so why suddenly is this being allowed to be shared? If the government was involved,
Right.
wanted to be shared, trust me, it wouldn't be
Oh,
shared.
they would have shut him down by now.
They would have shut them down by now. So,
They're
and they're
allowing it to go out.
and Travis, as we know, is working for the government. Is he not? Wasn't that the big headline a couple weeks back?
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, Jeff, with the smoke, this fire.
Yep. I know where you're going, and I agree with you. I think we're getting closer and closer to having. I don't think we're going to get. I think we're going to. I think we're going to know for sure that UFOs, UAPs, they exist. Some intelligences are running these craft, and we don't know how to stop it. But the one thing we will never find out, I don't think we'll get to all the truth of, is how long has the military known, and what do they have in their possession of alien technology. But I think everything else is coming out. I don't think the government will ever admit, hey, we've got down craft, we've got alien bodies. If that ever happened, I don't think we'll ever find that out. But I do, or if, some people say they're working with them, that there's some here and they're working with them or whatever. Now, I don't think those kind of things we'll ever find out, but we will find out obviously already finding out that UAPs, UFOs are real. That's already being released. The truth is already coming out about that.
Jeff, we've done a form of Beyond Our World, which we played what the former presidents have said. And
Yeah.
the former presidents recently, now you played it 4 years ago, they denied total existence of it. And then, like, we had, President Obama on and George Bush and said, well, maybe there's something to it,
Mhm.
and you're like, wait a minute, 4 years ago, you said you denied the whole thing. And now, uh, President Obama said, hey, there's something to it. I knew about it. I can't explain what it is. Now, he doesn't say that without clearance. He
Right. Right.
on there,
Right.
and he has to make sure that the military is all right with him saying that.
Right.
Nothing is said by a former president without some kind of clearance. Trust me.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Bigelow probably did not do these types of experiments. I don't know.
mm, you know, Lowe did. He's working with the military.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Anyway, interesting, huh? Let's move along.
Oh,
Now, we also know that during this last season, they also were drilling underneath the mesa in
yep.
that area where they had that area that looks like along the mesa, what looks like a collapse. To me, that they had a guy come out that was a geologist guy that came out and looked at it, and he agreed. Now, this thing was they were trying to drill underneath there. They were several hundred feet underneath the mesa, and they were trying to curve it. This thing, they can direct these things. This particular drill rig can direct where it drills to, so it can go up, down, right, left, whatever. They were doing that, and they were trying to get it to raise up, and it was hitting something, and it wasn't allowing it to come up. And it was then all of a sudden they're getting these chips of metal out of the spoils, these little wafers of metal.
Yeah.
What's metal doing underneath there, that far down underground, underneath the mesa?
Well, Jeff, it's not only just metal; it's a specific kind of metal, which would denote, wasn't it an alloy of some type?
Yeah, it had two different types.
What
It
was one?
had somebody was talking about the europium. One was already talking about it, europium and tellurium. Tellurium on one side, europium on the other side. Now, what are they used for? What's one use for them? Those two, and they're very rare. They're two of the most rare elements, or on Earth.
Wow. Are they naturally occurring, Jeff?
They are naturally occurring, but not together like that.
And it did look like the metal was worked.
Yep, it did. One
If,
side of
if
it had europium, and the other side had tellurium on it. And
hmm,
these things are not generally found together. They are both very rare, but they
wow.
are they're used for something in today's world as shielding for the space shuttle. They use it for shielding material. Both of those are parts of what's used for shielding.
So those metals are associated with space travel, is what we're saying.
Yeah. In when they're together.
When they're together.
And then they were asked, how could these two be put together and basically both bonded to this piece of metal, to this piece of iron?
And
And
what
it
are
would
they?
either be done by mankind,
Yep.
or another way would be something natural like an asteroid hitting the ground. Or what's another?
Intelligent life outside of mankind.
Could
Sentient
be.
being. That would be your third option.
Yep.
Worked by man, natural, or worked by something not us.
Mhm.
If life does exist beyond us, you know,
Yep.
with billions of universes, statistically it would.
Right.
Statistically, life would be out there somewhere.
Yep.
So you can't explain that away.
No. Barbara brings up a good point too. They never went back. Remember when they did the ground penetrating radar and they found that wavy lines underneath the road under Homestead 2 area? And they never went back and looked in that any ever again that we know of.
Hmm.
Why not? I don't know.
Yes.
So the drilling was going on. All these things happening, folks. Remember the smoke test that happened this season?
Yeah.
the smoke being sucked back down. It started to come out at first, and then it got sucked back down in the rock. You know there's cavities underneath this thing. There has to be.
But it never dissipates. The smoke
Yeah,
never,
it never comes out anywhere else.
no, doesn't dissipate anywhere else. It's almost like a backdraft effect, but there's no dissipation anywhere
Right.
else. That mesa.
Right. And if you look at this thing, folks, look at that. I mean, that picture right there tells you something that, well, one thing is that Thomas shouldn't be standing right there, for one. That's Thomas standing up on top of the mesa right there. And look what he's standing on top of. And this rock is just ready to just go tumbling down there with the rest of them. And he's standing on it. No big deal, you know? But I mean, you look at that picture, you see all this debris down here. Well, where did all this debris come from? It came from up here and it collapsed down here. Same thing would took place, I think, over here on this other side. Looks like the same thing. Oh boy, we gotta hang on.
To get rid of that. But yeah, Jeff, as you're editing that out, that's, as we discussed before, that's not natural. The patterns of that, the erosion patterns and other patterns from that landslide aren't natural. They make no sense.
Right. So it looked like, then you look at this. You're right. Did somebody do this on purpose? Did somebody collapse this area on purpose? This is the area where they're drilling under. Did somebody collapse this on purpose to try to cover up a tunnel, a cave,
Would appear that
an
way.
object,
A crash site.
an object that's made out of metal that they were hitting with the drill? Yeah, I know, Jan. I think I got rid of them. I just love when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah.
Folks, when we see, we're open to YouTube sites open to the public, so sometimes we get jerks that post up some type of a thing that please ignore that kind of stuff and don't ever click on anything like that. Never click on that. Ever. We get rid of them as quick as we can, but anyway. So this was done, and the guy that came out, I can't remember his name. They brought a guy out that looked at this rubble pile, and he said it looked to him, it did not look like natural because whatever the softer material underneath the rock would have washed out into the flat ground a little bit, the flat land, and would have left some itself behind. It would have been a smooth washout area underneath this, the softer material that got wet and washed out from underneath it.
Yep.
It was not there. So did somebody explode this down? I don't know.
There's no erosion pattern to it. There wasn't a washout. There wasn't kind of a delta at the very end of it.
No,
None of that. No collection of soot or whatever would have been down at the bottom. There was none of that.
And a gentleman that we're going to have on the show, Chris Barrel. I think his name was Chris Barrel. He came out there. He went up, he climbed up on here. He was one of the security for Bigelow. And he went up on there and he said there was a cave there at one time. He remembers it being a cave. He's coming on the show. We're going to have him on the show next month. Where him and I are working on it right now. He had a lot of stuff going on this month, but next month he's going to come on the show, Chris Barrel. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun. He was with the Bigelow team and he's coming on the show. He's going to share some stuff with us. We'll let you know when we get that scheduled. I'm really looking forward to having him on. But he remembers there being a cave over there. So we'll get more detail on that. Again, these weird things all happening in this area now, and the drill rig hitting something, everything, all these things going on. And then you have the data from Pete giving the data to Eric, and Eric manipulating, putting the data all together to take all those millions of little snapshots and putting them all together into a 3D model.
Wow.
That's what this picture is here. Hard to look at almost, but it's a 3D model of all those pictures all put together. Right? And lo and behold, the area that they're always talking about has an anomaly. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this thing ever since this episode aired. There's been a lot of people talking about it. And there you see it there again from a different angle. And there you see it again from just a slightly different angle from this one. It's generally moving off to the right, the camera angle. and you see it differently. You know, you're seeing it edge on and sideways and stuff.
What is that?
This is in that same area. Now, remember when I was talking about the rocket?
Yep.
Remember when the rocket, they had the first one exploded, the second one veered off to the north.
Yep.
Remember how it was veered off?
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same. Well, not exactly, but this is veering off the same direction. And I told you to remember that because this is why I brought that up. This picture here shows this thing veering off to the north. The north is over the mesa, which is on the right hand side of the screen. This thing is leaning towards or facing, kind of curling towards the north. The rocket went towards the north.
What are we looking at, Jeff?
What this is, and you can tell in this last picture right here, what this is. If you look at this very first one, you'll see that all that little all that is those are millions of little pictures all put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a compilation of millions of pictures all put together like grains of sand to make a picture. Okay, a 3D picture. What this is also some of those same pictures that were taken by the scans going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, scanning the entire ranch. And this is a bunch of those little pictures because if you look at this closely, they are basically the same size as the piece of pixels that are on the ground making up the ground. So
Sure.
this is pixels that are out of place. This is little pictures that are out of place. The camera, I mean, the data, when it scanned, the data put them into this particular shape in this particular spot. Now, is it A, because there is actually an object there? Is it B, because it's getting some sort of distortion, or as they put it, a lingering condition to cause displacement of those?
Well, displacement would denote possible cloak, right?
Yeah, it could.
They're displaced.
Possible cloak, yeah, absolutely.
Displace. I
The
mean, you're displacing what? You're not. It's not a physical form. You're displacing light,
right,
right?
right,
I mean, what else are we displacing there? We're displacing something. We're displacing reality. We're displacing light. We're displacing something there to create that anomaly that the
right.
computer liked too much and it didn't know how to adjust to it, so it left this.
This is what the anomaly told the data to do with the pictures. And the thing of it is that every angle, that's one of the interesting things about it. Every angle, it was there. It wasn't like, and it wasn't going a different direction over here or a different direction over there. It was all leaning this way towards the mesa, toward the north. It was curling toward the north. And so every angle, it was there. So the data, the whatever this thing was, whether it be a structure or an anomaly or a distortion or a signal at 1.6 gigahertz, whatever it was causing the data to arrange itself in this particular form. I don't know. I mean, it's you and we did a Beyond Our World. It was my idea to have this one particular show. And I called the show. It was one of our episodes, folks, that we had on Beyond Our World that I called Can't Touch This. And I bring this up right now because in that episode, John and I talked about the fact that, in the spectrum of hearing, sound frequencies, the spectrum of sound frequencies goes on and on and on. But the portion that human ear can hear is a very small portion of this large spectrum of sound frequencies, right?
Correct.
Same thing with what we see. Visual light is a very small portion of all the light frequencies that exist. We can't see most of them. We can only see a very small portion. We can only hear a very small portion of sound. We can only see a very small portion of actual light. Is it possible? This is what I raised in that show. The question, is it possible that also you can't touch? Is it all, are we limited on what we can actually touch? just like what we can't see, which like we can't hear, which like we can't smell. There are certain range of smells that we can't detect them with our nose. They're not capable. Eyes, ears, everything. Touch is another sense. Is it possible that we are very limited on what we can actually touch? Is this something that stands just outside of that? I don't know. I'm throwing that out there. I really don't know if it makes sense or not, but it made me think about that episode. Something is creating in this area, some kind of anomaly, some phenomenon is happening right here that is mixing with data.
It would have to be outside the realm of our realm of touch. You know, it would have to be outside our realm of senses, just barely, but it would have to be outside that realm. So if we went to touch it, we wouldn't touch it because it's outside our realm. But it doesn't mean there's not an existence to the phenomena. Just like, you know, you don't see everything, but there are certain things that other animals see and hear and sense that we don't.
Right.
Out,
Dogs hear whistles that we can't hear.
it's outside our realm of sensing.
Right.
So could touch as a sense? Could that anomaly be outside of our realm of touch? That's a possibility.
Yep.
You know, but it would have to be outside the realm of a universe where touch is not possible.
Right.
Or we haven't ascended to that aspect of our humanhood. You
Right.
know, where
Is something completely cloaked if we can't see it, hear it, touch it, or smell it? Yeah, it's cloaked, isn't it? Does that mean it doesn't exist just because we can't see it, smell it, touch it, or hear it? No, I don't think so because sound exists we can't hear.
Jeff, you know, the atom has been discovered in the past couple hundred years, and before the atom was discovered, did it exist? Yes.
Yeah.
Can we touch an atom? Not really.
Nope.
Well, I mean, you could on the quantum physics level to some extent, you know, but
Yeah.
no, you can't pick up an atom and hold it, and you know, even though we're made up of atoms, you know, does it exist? Sure, it has a reality, but it was too small for us to see.
Right.
And can things exist outside of our realm of senses? Sure.
Right.
We just do things all the time. You
I
know,
don't know. Something to think about. I think about these things sometimes and I'm like, it just kind of blow my own mind sometimes when I come across stuff like that. Is it a crazy thought? Maybe. But it just when I saw this, that's what made me think about it. The data is picking up something there, but yet the naked eye never sees it. It's not there. They can't touch it. They can't hear it. They can get 1.6 gigahertz. No, Amy, I don't have the call-in number. Sorry. I don't have it going. So, I apologize. This was one of the pictures that was taken from the other side of the, remember up on top of the mesa, they had the rock formation and they had, John Dover was up there with them and he was walking around and he said that looked to him like it was a spiral and they walked around it in a clockwise pattern and entered it through the walking clockwise around it. That was a meaning of respect. But he also talked about a portal. Well, that big stone right there, here's an anomaly on this side of the stone, on the camera side of the stone or the viewpoint side of the stone. And then you see the anomaly in the background where his mouse pointer is. That's the big anomaly down on the flatland back there. And it lined it up. It goes right through that stone. The stone is right in between. They're lined, all three are lined up. That's pretty weird.
what is that?
I don't know. This is the anomaly up on top of the mesa. There's the big rock. Let's see if I got another picture of it. Oh, no, I didn't. That was it. So it's there. It's right there. That's the big one back there. And that's just the little one up on the mesa. And then that big stone that's part of that spiral is right there. I remember when they had Alan Garfinkel out there. He was the guy that came out and looked at the petroglyphs. And he went out there and he looked at it and he was talking about some of the interesting stuff, the petroglyphs over here. And he was talking about it being a gate and the snakes that were protecting the gate,
Mm-hmm.
the guardians of the gate. And this was the gate and the snakes on each side protecting it. Remember he was talking about that? Yeah.
Mm.
And then we also had John Dover, who was up there. He's one of the, I believe, the Ute tribal member, and he was there. That's him there. He was up there with Candace and Tom up on there looking at that same anomaly. And that was where this is it here. And they were walking around clockwise around it to the center stone. That's this is the big stone right here, the center one right there.
Hmm.
And there's the pattern. I don't. What do you make of all that? I mean, this has just been an awesome season. I think this is like. I think it's an awesome season. They captured so much. I think. I think one of the best things that they've done was being able to somehow or another visually see this anomaly that they have detected over and over and over again by other means, by other experiments. They've detected something in that space. And now
Unex-
they go ahead.
unex- it's completely unexplained. They keep doing test after test after test, coming back with similar results, you know, unexplained. And they brought people that worked on Bigelow, with Bigelow on the ranch before, and they saw similar things.
Yep.
So it's not like these aren't repeatable occurrences. It's repeatable.
Yep. Yep. It's just this has been a great season. It really has. And I tell you, this things that they have found that this throw off inaccurate GPS coordinates. I mean, all kinds of things that have happened. Uh, and we sit back and we look at it, and as I've talked to Thomas and Eric Bard, they were on the show the last show 2 weeks ago, and they talked about the fact that there's so much going on at the ranch that we don't get to see on the TV show. We get to see such a small portion of the actual experiments that they do. It goes way beyond all that. But that's the nice thing about being an insider. You guys, if you're going to be on, you got to come back and watch tomorrow. I know we're almost done here tonight. We got a little bit more I want to cover, but tomorrow night, Shannon DeSalvo is going to be on. She is one of the admin, I believe, an admin of the chat and doing when we're on Skinwalker Ranch or Skinwalker-ranch.com as an insider, you get to watch for different anomalies and different things, watching the cameras, and you can record it. You can go into they got a database where you can say, hey, I saw something at this time on camera number whatever, and you can go to, I mean, there's so many different cool things. You'll find out all kinds of stuff about it tomorrow night. I got Shannon coming on with me tomorrow night at 7:30. It's going to be a lot of fun. But they have discovered some stuff, but it's this bunch of data that they have collected over the course of the last couple of seasons now. It can't stop now. That's what Thomas said. We cannot stop now. We have to keep going.
Absolutely.
But the things that they've seen already this year, I blow away. I mean, that anomaly that disappeared into what above in the sky, that white light. We saw it traveling, and then zip, gone into something.
Well, Jeff, the floating orb that we saw near the ground coming across with the trail to it.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah. What the heck is that?
This was, in my opinion, one of the top 3, maybe the top catch. I don't know. It's up to me. I'll ask you guys. What do you guys in the chat? What do you guys think?
I mean, what is
Was
that?
the top 3 finds from this year? Was it that anomaly that looks like it's something standing up, an object down on the flat in front of the mesa, leaning toward the north? Is that the best thing they've seen this year? Is it this? And I'm going to show the video of this in just a second. Is it this orb? What was the other one disappearing and fading away in the night sky when they were looking up? Is it the signal at 1.6 gigahertz transmitting? What do you think is the best thing they've seen
Or
this year?
the bending of the laser,
The bending of the laser?
or the splitting. At one point, they split the laser. So you have five. You have the laser, splitting. You have the orb. You have the anomaly that they picked up with the sonar, whatever they were using, not sonar, but the radar. You
Yep.
know
Yep.
what
Yep.
what is the showstopper for the year? How would you rank them?
I don't know, but to me, this has to be. I'm going to vote. My vote is this one right here, and I'm going to show this video because I have to show you guys.
Come on.
Yeah, that right there tells it all. What in the heck is that?
But you see other insects. It's not an insect. It's too bright to be an insect. You see other insects around. It's not an insect. Can we show it again, Jeff?
Yeah, Yeah, you see the insects zipping by, zip, zip
Yeah.
as it's going.
Oh,
Those are all insects, things flying by. Yeah, but look at this thing is under intelligent movement. It's looking around for something. To
yeah.
me, it is looking for something.
I mean,
That's my number one catch right there of the season. What do you think?
I would agree. That's a number one catch right there. And for me, number two would be the laser.
The
The
laser
split
bending and splitting.
light in that way, unless
Yep.
it's been refracted somehow.
And there was one point when they were shining that laser up there. There was one point um, that when he was moving it, it looked like it was being blocked. Here it was this length,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then he moved it over, and over here it's this length. So what was blocking it, making it shorter over here and longer over here?
That's not how lasers work.
No, lasers don't work like
Lasers
that.
work like that. You're going that.
Unless something is absorbing the light at a certain altitude, and then when you move away from it, now it goes up a little higher.
I mean, that would. I mean, what's your number two, Jeff? I mean, we both have the same
My
number
number
one.
2, boy, the laser's right up there for number 2. I think number 2 for me is the object in the sky that dissipates into some sort of a portal or a docking bay or something like that.
Wow.
That's number 2 for me.
I'd love to see what the viewers think their number one is.
Yeah, some of them are popping in saying they vote. Somebody voted the orb. I see that. That was Karen. Karen votes the orb.
The
Uh,
orb,
let's see.
the orb.
What do you guys think? I feel the orb is. I feel the orb and its movement too bright to be of spirit.
The spirit.
Let's see. What does that say? That's exactly how the orb I saw was moving from. And oh, really? And before it shot straight up. Now that would be something to see, Jan, right there. Did you get that on? Did you record that any way, shape, or form? Oh, please tell me you did. Yeah, they had that one that they showed over the. It was over Vegas. Was determined to be a fake, but they showed something. It was shot. It shot. It was like hanging out right above in Vegas, and all of a sudden it took off. Yeah, that was determined to be fake. If you got something though, that'd be great. The way it flew made me think of insects. Not that it is an insect, but the flight pattern. It must be controlled. It looked like to me, like it was looking for something.
Cloaked vessel.
That's an orb that crossed into our dimension. Um, I should get somebody from Blind Frog Ranch on, which is near Skinwalker. I will try. I will certainly give it a shot and see what I can do. I vote the UAP with the laser. Yep, Wanda goes for that one. That orb happening right there. That failed rocket launch. Yep. That was the one above. That was the one in the sky above the pyramid of laser cannon, space laser cannon. Um, look at that rocket video again. It is sort of looks like what does it say? This is Wizard of Techno. Look at that laser or that rocket video again. It sort of looks like it made a sudden 45-degree turn and not a curved arc and it changed direction, like some solid engineering. So, yeah, could be.
Could have very easily made a. I would like to see the video again. I mean, if we can pull that up, I'm not sure if we can pull that up, Jeff. But that would be good to see.
I don't know. I was trying to click on something.
Jeff, we have that person back into our.
Okay, then we get rid of them here. Okay, Whew, I was quicker on the draw that time.
Real quick.
I don't know. What do you think? It's this to me was a great season. I was really impressed with it. I got to look at that one more time. Got to look at this one more time.
Oh no!
And this is only part of it. It ends up going over to the right, and then it ends up going back across the field of view, and then disappears off to the left behind a tree. I mean, it did. It moved all around. I mean, it came over toward the left or to the right, then it turned around and went back around the tree. I mean, it was it was like a minute. The thing was floating around for a good minute. I don't know. So what do you think? You want to bring up that other one? Let me see if I can.
Yeah, that's the
Other
other
video of the
the so-called spacecraft going into the cloak jet.
show. All right, let's see.
What is
This
that?
one here.
I think that's it. Is that EA420 technology? What is that? Hold on, Jeff. Yeah. Let's see. Does it go? Oh,
Huh? Oh, do you want to see it again?
someone said it moved at a 45-degree angle. I'm just trying to catch that angle.
Oh no, the other rocket. Okay, he's talking about
Oh,
rocket launch. Okay, hold on. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
When you're talking
That
about.
was the rocket launch. Rocket launch. Here it is. No, this is the one that blew up. Hang on, I'll find it here. Give me a moment. All I had was a still on that one.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Should be right here. Here it is. Yeah, it's like it's not quite a 45, but darn weird.
Wow. And you can't really explain that away. There was no wind.
Nope.
Unbelievable. I mean, you really can't explain this. There's no explanation, logical explanation for a lot of this phenomenon
Right.
that,
Now,
that we're aware of.
yeah, and this thing landed. I mean, this thing landed a few miles away. It was heading for Roosevelt. It landed over by Roosevelt. But what I was thinking, and this is why I brought that up about the shape of the anomaly from the pixels and this thing here, is that it looked like it it was following that anomaly, like it was inside of it for a little ways.
Yeah.
And followed up, and then finally got past the top of it, and then off it went, and it landed over by Roosevelt. But it doesn't it kind of seem like it was following inside of that
Yeah.
anomaly that looked
Yeah.
like it was leaning
Yeah.
to the north?
Yes. With no explanation of why. Why, Jeff? There's no explanation for any of the whys. We can speculate, we can go down rabbit holes, but there's no explanation on why. Why
Nope.
anything that we're seeing, why they're happening.
Right.
We can speculate, go down rabbit holes,
Yep.
but no scientific reason why that we're currently aware of. Not that there is not a cause for it. There's obviously a cause for it. It's just
Yep.
something we may not know at this time. And that's
Yeah,
why
Kate, if
what
you want me, I can send you those pictures and you can overlap them if you want. I can send them to you. Kate was talking about overlapping this picture with the anomaly, I think,
oh
and seeing
great.
if it
That was
does look like it's traveling right up inside the anomaly. And I can maybe get a better picture. It was hard the way I do it now. I used to get all my pictures were so much easier to capture, but hopefully I'll get that back one of these days. But
what a season.
it really was. Shannon said, I think it's true. If you know about white noise, I would think that it would also be true. Barb was talking about a wormhole. Um, looks like from our technology. Yeah.
Well, and Jeff, every time we see these anomalies, 1.6, 1.6,
I know.
1.6. I
Yeah,
mean,
it keeps
over and
popping
over. I
up.
mean, that seems to be kind of background noise for all these events.
Yep.
No explanation of why something's broadcasting at 1.6.
I know. So what do you guys think? I mean, was this a good season? I think it was their best season yet. I
Oh, yeah.
think that they are truly getting closer to coming up with some answers. Uh, I can't wait to see what's going on now. And I'm going to go back to and talk about the insider thing again. But it's just one of those times where, I wish that I could spend as much time as some of the folks do to watching some of the video. I'm just so I got so much going on, plus my, 8 to 5 every day. But I'm watching some of what they do. Or you get to watch, you get to see, and there's been some stuff captured. I can't talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but they've captured some really cool stuff. And some of the viewers have people like you and me watching this and they go, "Oh, what was that?" And they see it and they record it. And then people go back and look at it and then they cut it out if it's really cool and they save it. So everybody gets a chance to see it. That's an insider. It's just, there's a lot of benefits to it. It's really a cool thing. And like I said, you'll get to hear more about it tomorrow night when we have Shannon on. We're going to be talking, we're not really going to be talking about Skinwalker Ranch per se too much. We're going to be talking about being an insider and the benefits of that and some of the things that she does for that. And it's just going to be an interesting night. We're going to talk a little bit about, I want to pick her brain a little bit about what she believes is going on out there in the Uintah Basin and all of that. But yeah, so we're gonna have some fun tomorrow night. Shannon, DeSalvo, and myself. And then maybe we'll get another insider to come on later on and we'll do it again. I'm calling the
Yeah.
show Insiders Insights.
Hmm.
Insiders Insights. That's what I'm calling it. So, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be insights of different insiders. So hopefully we'll have more than one. We're trying to get Granny Mac to come on, but Granny Mac says, "No, I ain't doing that." I don't know if she was watching tonight, but anyway, we have a lot of fun over there, you guys. It's like a little community. But anyway, wrap it up. What do you think, John? Anything else you want to add?
I can't wait the next season. It's just
I
so.
know.
I mean, we already have so much material here just to go through,
Yep.
and then testing the theories out, and you have a large swath of data, plus what Eric Bard and them are collecting from the viewers because they have that database that Eric Bard talked about.
Yep.
On our last show. I mean, there's just so much to analyze and so much hypothesizing that can be done for future shows. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for the next season.
I know. Me too. I'm the same way. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see. I blocked, but they come back with somebody else. It keeps coming back. I mean, it's just an attack after attack, and I do my best when I see it pop up and try to get rid of it quick. But anyway, let's see. Second choice is the plasma light in the sky that Eric showed to Travis and Brandon. Yep.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
you know what? I was going to tell you. Remember
What?
that time we did the one recap, and you had spotted that one. They had seen it on there, but it was that exploding.
Yes.
That was that like the Stargate opening up, the flush of the Stargate. I mean,
Remember, I isolated it and used all the apps to kind of clean it up and things. Yes, and was that a Stargate? You remember that?
yeah.
We didn't know what it was.
Nope. Yeah, that was another.
Do you
Before we
have?
go, yeah, I think I got that. Let me. Oh, I know I have it. Let me see if I can find it real fast. It won't take too long. Oh, here it is, right here. I found it. This is what he's talking about. This was some sort of explain what this was, if you don't mind.
Well, that was some sort of opening of something, and I just freeze framed it and kind of cleaned it up, and then it closes down. I mean, I've heard that it was maybe a booster rocket or other things, but to me, that you see two of them. You see that one, which doesn't look like a booster rocket to me, and you see the other one, the smaller one, and I cleaned those up, but those in the video opened up and then closed, and they were
Yep.
gone.
Yeah, it went like
Yeah,
that. Just like something exploded out and then
almost science fiction wise, almost like a Stargate would look,
yep, like a Stargate opened up.
But if you take a close up of it, Jeff, I mean, look at it. It looks. It's not a fireball because there's no entrance into the atmosphere with a trail for a fireball. That's
Right.
the way it looked when it opened up or whatever it was, and then it just phased right out of existence. And that has never been explained either. That I can't explain. And I looked over it, freeze framed it, and cleaned it up and sharpened it up to the best of my ability, and that's what I came up with. And I can't explain what that is. And it just phased in, phased
And
out, and there's two of them. There's
yeah,
just not the other one up in the right hand corner of that other picture.
yep.
So I can't explain that.
Like
Stars are
status again. There's
stars are
something going on, folks.
yeah. Those can't be stars. They're too big to be stars.
Yep.
There's
Exactly.
no meteor trail.
I
What is
know.
that?
I don't know. Who was it asked the question here? Anthony. Anthony asked the question. So, is this the last Skinwalker podcast tonight? No. Well, it's the last one for the show, because the season's over now. Obviously, but it won't be the last one we do. No, we're going to be doing some more. I will always ask permission first, but I would like to be able to share more information as Thomas, and Eric, and them guys kind of give us more information. I want to be able to share what I can with you. as we go along, and as they're obviously what they're doing, the experiments they're doing and stuff for filming for season 10. I mean, I'm said 10 for season 4. I won't be able to tell you about because they can't tell me, but we would like to give you updates as we go along. So, show wise, I mean, episode wise, yes, we may go back and kind of look. I was thinking about maybe getting together with John and we would do like a 3 season, like groups and the highlights of 3 seasons together show. I'd love to we will get Eric and Thomas back on, hopefully with Dragon and Caleb, even that's and Travis. I mean, they're
And Jeff, you occasionally have an insider on. Is that not right? Isn't that?
yes, and occasionally have an insider on to
Yeah.
talk. I wish
Yeah.
I could tell you what goes on sometimes in the
Oh yeah.
as an insider, some of the stuff that goes on. I mean, they
Stuff
what's
that.
really cool is they do interact
Oh
with
yeah.
the members. The
And,
guys, the team interacts with the members. Put it that
and
way.
that's fascinating because they see stuff that the general public doesn't have access to. As an insider, you have inside access to things that normally people don't see, and so you occasionally have people on from the insiders, talking about, maybe sharing about what they've seen.
Yep.
They see more than what we see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So be here tomorrow night for that with Shannon and and we're just we're gonna be talking it up, and I hope a lot of the insiders come and chat with us too. And I think it'll be a fun evening. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap it up. We like I said, we will come back. We will talk about more as we go along. Hey, do us a favor. If you like the content of our show, give us a thumbs up. It does help us out a lot if you give us a thumbs up for the show tonight. And also tell your friends and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And the notification bell if you want to see what's going on tonight. I really appreciate all of you showing up tonight. We had a great crowd. We were up around 100 people showed up for a while. Really great. Appreciate y'all very, very much. John Edwards, always stellar, even when you're on location. You're doing a great job, guy. Appreciate you very much. Tom and was out there, and Jan was working hard tonight. Linda, if some of you know from our Facebook group, had a procedure done today. So prayers for her.
Absolutely.
Everything is going well, and she gets back in her spot doing her thing that she loves to do, which is keeping me in line most of the time. And our Facebook group, The Curse of Oak Island and beyond. Folks, have a great rest of your night. I hope I see you all here tomorrow night for Shannon DeSalvo and I Insider Insights tomorrow at 7:30. Good night, all. Have a great rest of your week.